Hey, human family. I thought I'd turn the camera on and let y'all ride with me. I'm going to go to the bank and see how many coins I got. I was looking through, of course, Facebook, and I saw something that I wanted to comment on. So I said, you know what? I really and truly need to get on here and do my commentaries on things that I spy out and see on social media. But most of y'all remember old girl, I can't think of her name. You know I'm not going to be able to think of her name. Phylicia Rashad. Surprise! You know Phylicia Rashad, who played Bill Cosby's wife on The Cosby Show. Well, I watched her being interviewed by Charlemagne, and I don't call him the rest of that name he go by, cause you ain't supposed to call nobody a god, cause he sure ain't no god with his raccoon looking self. Let me make my statement. I have the right to say what I'm going to say. I need to be at home so I can read this thing off, but I'm purely just making commentary on what I see on this social platform, and that's exercising my right, my freedom of speech, choice to say what I want to say. You know, the copyright thing. So y'all get it. Facebook, Meta, y'all get where I'm going. But anyway, Phylicia Rashad was being interviewed by Charlemagne, and so she happened to make a statement. She made a statement about the way young people dress today, and I'm not gonna just say women. They working in the yard. I'm gonna say both sexes, women and men. And now you got to be androgynous. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what you're looking at, woman or man. But anyway, the women, the way they dress, even for me, and I'm a very bodacious female. When I was young, I was a very bodacious female. But these women, straight up, you got to call it for what it is. They dressing straight up like hoes. And here I go chilling and driving, and somebody done got behind me, and you can tell they always in a hurry because they come up on your behind just like they're on a drag race. Let me speed up a little bit. But Phylicia Rashad, I'm not going to be able to quote everything she said verbatim, but she in essence was saying that women are dressing too revealing and yada yada yada. She was talking on that way of line of thought, and she was also saying that modesty can be sensual in essence itself, and I think that to be very true. Well, anyway, now we're gonna come on down the pike. Of course, somebody came out against Phylicia Rashad and said something very smart-lipped to her, about you single and it ain't working for you, you by yourself, in essence, what she was saying. So now I'm going to tell you what Paulette B's thinking. This person that was being smart-mouthed to Phylicia Rashad's comment about women not being modest in their dress, and they said a whole bunch of stuff that I feel was very unnecessary, about she don't have nobody, and it ain't working too good for her, and they don't take no, they don't like the fact that she's an old retired actress and she's trying to tell the young people how to do. Well, you know what I say? That's why I be walking around 90% of the time with my mouth closed, because These young people today, you can't hardly say nothing to them. They think they know everything. Let me turn the air on. I don't know what I'm gonna be fighting against, the noise of the outside traffic, or if you guys are gonna be fighting the noise of the air conditioner. Let me make sure I got the air conditioner on. Let me pay attention to this driving. But anyway, what I was gonna say was, you really can't hardly say anything to these people of today's generation because they don't give no respect to you being an elderly person, in the sense that they value your knowledge or your wisdom, or what you may have to say to them. You may get cussed out or talked about just like you ain't nothing, from these flippant smart mouth rascals. And I found that out even in my own family, because talking to my grandson, it's not that he's disrespectful in the fashion that I'm talking about today. He don't be doing no cursing me out or talking like that. But it do be a lot of trying to interject when you talking to them. You trying to give them some words of wisdom. They got to come back for you on everything. They got to answer for everything. They got to comment about something instead of actually listening, so that they can get the wisdom that you're trying to give them. And it can be so frustrating. And I wouldn't dare. I have stepped out on the ledge from time to time and spoke up and said stuff to people on the outside, but it's generally not very wise to do that, because I'm telling you, people in 2025, stupid. They ain't the same people that I came up with. Somebody ahead of me at the bank, I guess, was making a withdrawal or whatever they doing. And I'm at the ATM machine, so I'm going to do the same thing. But anyway, yeah, you're just really stepping out on the ledge when you say something to people today. And like, I know that I had a personal experience myself with one of mine. She probably wouldn't be happy with me telling this, but I'm going to tell it anyway. I happened to be standing in her presence. I'm not going to give you all the specifics. I'm just going to give you the roundabout. I was standing in her presence, but an individual was going down the street. We were standing in the yard. The person was going down the street, and they recognized me, and they stopped, and we started chatting. And evidently, they didn't know that the one I was standing up here talking to belonged to me. And so they happened to say, now this individual, they were around my age. They happened to say to her, "Oh, I saw you one day and you almost ran me over," or something. She was indicating that they had a driving incident and she didn't know who she was. And now standing up here in my presence and talking to me and me making the statement. Now hold up, y'all. Let me check. Like I said, let me check my phones. Somebody done pulled up behind me. Y'all can see that in the car. But I'm finna check. Turn that beeping off so it won't run you crazy. What happened here? This thing ain't working right, cause I hope it didn't do nothing with my cord. Come on, what is you doing? Cause ain't no cord even in here now. Clear. I don't trust this. I wonder did the individual that came up here did something. This may not be working right. Okay, let me try it again. Oh. because all I want to do is check. Oh, okay. All right, now we back on the road, and I'm smiling because I'm looking at the numbers. But anyway, when this person was making the comment about them feeling as though they were almost ran into by the driving situation, mine was getting ready to be disrespectful, and then I don't fasten my seatbelt. If I do, it'll stop that noise, and I'm just show y'all. But I don't fasten it because it get on my nerves. Okay, see, now I got it fastened, but I ain't gonna let it stay fastened because I don't like it. I don't like it around me. And then after an incident, a car wreck that some family members were in, and I was told that they felt as though they were being cut in half, or they suffered an injury from the seatbelt where it appeared that they were cut by. I ain't putting nothing on. But anyway, I was trying to shush them down, you know, and I couldn't say what I wanted to say in the presence of the individual. And plus, I knew how mine be responding to me sometimes, and I was trying to turn my back to the individual that was telling me about the incident, and I was trying to talk to mine and shush her down and say, shh, you know, in other words, just let her say what she gonna say, and don't worry about it. But she was adamant in expressing to me, now, I don't talk and tell her, da, 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 da. And I was just looking at the whole interaction and thinking to myself, see, this is how the world is now. It's stupid. What the individual is saying to you is not really anything that alarming or for you to get that upset about, and just let them talk. And I know in my day, when I was young, I had lots of older people always putting me in check. You know what I'm saying? Or saying something that I really didn't ride along with, but I just kind of chilled, and that was basically the way most kids responded then. You know, they just let the elderly talk and let them tell you whatever they're going to tell you, and you handle it however way you handle it. But today, it's lip for lip, word for word. So anyway, back to Phylicia Rashad. So I was just thinking about in terms of her making her comment, which I felt I stood with her on that. People today, young people today, they do. They dress just like hoes. I'm serious. I've seen some booty cheeks just sticking out, and you think that nobody gonna look at you with question marks all over their face? You think some man ain't gonna look? I know of an incident when I was dressing up and calling myself looking cute, trying to look cute, copying the world. I wore a dress out one night to a club, and it was very revealing. The old girl, she had a body on her. It was shaped up nice, you know, I'm not gonna hide from that or change that. But I had on a dress, and the dress was, you know, I'm not going to say risque, but it was short, very revealing, and I played heck getting out of a club. In fact, when I did manage to get out of that club, because a man kept attaching himself to me and trying to block my exit to keep me from going out, and he was all up in my face, and I was like, no, you know, I'm not interested, I don't want to talk to you, leave me alone. But I know now for a fact it was the way that I was dressed that drew him to me, drew his attention all upon me, unwanted attention. And he was refusing to back off, and here I am, a woman that didn't have a man escort or whatever, and he followed me to the next club. I'm only telling this because it falls in line with what I'm saying. It's proof, it's documentation, it's proof. So he follows me to the next club. When I managed to get out of that club, it showed me a lot of stuff too, because the females that I was with, they saw me in trouble, and instead of them trying to come to my rescue and give me a way out, they exited the club, went on, got in the car, and they waiting on me. And I'm like, I'm all hung up in this club with this psycho, and y'all done bailed on me and out there in the car instead of coming in, surrounding me and trying to help me get out of that. So when I managed to get out of there and went to the next club, this rascal showed up at the next club, and he was going on with this mess. Well, it just so happened that the next club that I went to, I frequent that spot quite a bit. So the personnel, the staff in there, they knew me. And it was a couple of men in there that knew me. And I approached them two men, and I told them, I said, can you get this joker off of me, because he just won't let me alone. I picked him up at another club, and then he done followed me to this club, and he's sweating me, he's on my back. Now, them two jokers got him off of me, because they went up to him, and they told him, she don't want your attention, back off, leave her alone, and we better not see you accosting her any kind of way whatsoever in this club. But I learned a lesson from that incident. I thought to myself, if you hadn't been dressed that way, you wouldn't have been getting approached that way, by this person. Plus, I was lucky. Oh, it's a lot of stuff I can tell you, because, I was really fortunate that he didn't even sit back and wait and spy me out and follow me home. But yeah, so that goes back to Phylicia Rashad making her comment, and people not liking it, and having something smart to say to her. And the way I look at it now, let people be what they want to be, because they'll learn their own lessons in time themselves. You ain't got to tell them nothing, because there's been a lot of times that I've wanted to jump in and say something to somebody, and then I second guess myself and say, no, don't say nothing to them, because you got to be mindful of the time that you're in. These people now, stupid on the 10th power. You really you can't say nothing to them at all. So that was where I was going with that, the Phylicia Rashad thing. And then Monique had an incident like that one time too, when she was talking about the girls going out with bonnets on their head. You can't say none of these fools now. These youthful people today, can't say nothing to them. And I'm probably through with that. But and as far as my attire that I have on, if you notice, because I know, looking at content creators and people talking, when you were young, or when you were younger, and you really were off into the dressing and your outfits and stuff, you don't change every day. You got to make sure that you're not seen twice in a week with the same outfit on. When you get older, at least for me, and I've done my own little poll, I've done questions of people who were old as me or older. In fact, I just did it the other day with my older relative. Ain't nobody trying to wear be no fashion plate and change no clothes every day. I leave that for the young people. I leave that for the time when I was that age. Now I'm at my next spot, which is the Family Dollar. Oh God, I'm gonna roll it down because I want to sit here for a minute. Because when I go here, yeah. I gotta do me. I pulled up to this truck next to me, and the guy was evidently coming out of the Dollar General. When he got right there in front of me, he parked and spit. Just turned me off, made me sick. He's right next to me. But anyway, where I want to go next? Yeah, so Phylicia is getting caught up in the chew-up machine people making comments responding to her saying, having the audacity to say that women shouldn't be going around dressing like hoes. And who wants to be out somewhere and look around and see somebody's booty cheeks? Actually see the booty cheeks. Little bitty patch. Some of these women is more bolder. I have to give it to them. They more bolder than I would ever be, because I wouldn't go out just, might as well say buck naked. Buck naked. And then expect nobody to look at you or say nothing out of the way to you, or expect men to treat you any other way than what you looking like. You looking like a hoe. And then I saw something else that I wanted to comment about. These old women, such as myself. Now, how would it look for me to get dressed in a risque fashion? Because there's sometimes I do have good days when I feel good, but since I know what I do know about Satan, the world, and what God expects, I wouldn't do it. But to see an older person dancing in a way they shouldn't be dancing period, but dancing in a way they shouldn't be dancing, and I've seen some older people doing some stuff that make my mouth drop, and I'm like, oh my God, what's their problem? What issues do they have? Some of them's mind may be a little bit bad, but even at that, you need to do what you're supposed to do. Sit your behind down. You need to sit down. You done had your time. You done had your moment. It's done come and it's gone. And if you were not smart enough to be following God, which I have my regrets. I wish that I had been following God from day one. I mean, I got a lot of regrets. Then I wouldn't probably have experienced some of the things that I experienced that were not pleasant, such as the going out that night to the club and having the trouble of being accosted by unwelcomed, unwanted attention. Or while I'm thinking of that, well, maybe I won't tell that. That'll be a story for another time. I was just going to say what an entertainer said to me, and you guys would know who I'm talking about if I call his name. But anyway, yeah, time has come and gone, and if you a grandma, it's time for you to sit down and act like a grandma. Don't be out here trying to dress like you know teenager. Don't be up doing no videos for you twerking and dance. Come on, be for real. And I think that even certain style of dress, you out of place. You out of place because you look like a fool. You look like a fool. But people just holding on. They trying their best to hold on to that some semblance of youth. And baby, when it's gone, it's gone. Let it go. Let it go. Embrace where you are. Embrace what you have. I wonder if y'all would stay on here long enough for me to go in this store and get what I want to get. I'm trying to. Oh, back to this clothes situation. So half the time, people ain't gonna tell you this. They'll keep their mouth shut about it. But yeah, when you get a certain age, it ain't no point in changing no outfits every day. Where you going? Who you gonna see? Who knows? What's that thing they got on a Facebook when they say it's this? I think they say who knows or nobody can tell. Something I've seen this come through the feed, and it says nobody will know. Nobody can tell. They don't run it as much now. I know some of you guys out here watching, you done seen this. It's like They'll show you something and they're like, nobody will know. Who knows? Or how can you tell? And so that's the way I feel about the clothes situation. But the only thing you can get found out on here is because if you go live every day, they're going to see the outfit that you got on. And I used to obsess about it when I'd come on here. Oh, I had that on, yesterday. What? I don't care. Because I'm sitting up here now. I'm having one of those days where it started off pretty good, but it's kind of quirky, getting a little bit quirky on the end. I'm not going in here for anything long. What did I say I was going to get? Y'all might, and I don't know enough about my lives. If I put y'all on pause, I don't even know how to put you on pause. But if I were to do a pause, you know what? Y'all can go in here with me this minute, because I'm not going to be, like I said, I'm not going to be in there but a minute. And I'm just going to talk and run my mouth and say whatever comes to my mind until I get off of here. Oh, here's another thing. Okay, I got it. Whew, and I'm going to keep it on me. And I just love my little community, y'all. Some people would think, I want to live in a big city. I used to think I want to live in a big city. No, I don't. I don't want to live in no big city. Big city sucks. It stinks. At least for me. That's my personal opinion of it. Hi, baby. Yeah, I'm just going to go in here for a quick minute and get what I'm going to get and go back up out of here. Whew. What do I want to, now that I done got in here, I don't forget what I came in here to get. Okay, I think I remember. Oh, Jesus. Let me get my mic and Ike's. How you doing, baby? I'm here. Oh, you just fine. You are simply fine. I'll get 2 boxes. Now your crackers, your crackers on this aisle, are they not?
Yes, ma'am. They're going to be right there at that bottom, right there on the left.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, here they go. Whew, and I think this is it. Oh, okay. You have a good one too. All right. Now I had some sweet cakes at home, but they were different flavor, and now I feel like I want something kind of chocolatey. How you doing, baby? You look like a fool talking to yourself. Twinkies. I can't see far without these glasses. I don't know if I want the chocolate donuts. I might just, no, I don't see nothing chocolate that I want. They don't got the chocolate cake. Well, those are, but they got sugar on top of it. I don't want that. I mean, I'll show you what I'm talking about. These things right here, they got them little beads on it of sugar, and I don't want that. I would pick all that off. And them little donuts, that's it. I think I done got what I'm gonna get. That's it. When I ain't got y'all on here, I'll think about it another time. Let me just check this and go. I might consider going to get me a chicken pot pie at Kentucky Fried Chicken. Because, you know, I told you it's hard trying to eat anything when you ain't got no teeth. Frustrating. something else I wanted to get. No, I guess this is it.
What am I want? Yeah. Give me just a second. You want to get me some roll of quarters just in case?
Anything else? Just quarters?
Just quarters. Everything else is fine.
Okay.
You're good to go, hon. Have a good day.
Thank you, baby.
Thank you.
Did I get the right one?
Yeah, that was. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Got the quarters.
Thank you.
All good. Okay.
Yeah, see, I knew I wasn't going to be in here long. I could be in there long because you know how you go in a place to get one something or two somethings and wind up getting 10 somethings. That's what I was fixing to do, so y'all kind of saved me. I knew that I had y'all online. I'm like, okay, I don't want to be in here that long. Now let me show y'all something else. This is something to talk about. My car was serving me fine and dandy, and it was in pretty good condition, but all my door handles got broken. And I'm gonna show you if I can see how I get in my car. Get this out the way. And when I went online, I found out that the door handles, they are relatively cheap. You can get them for like $9, $10. But here's the problem. You'll pay $250 if you, get somebody to replace them, especially if you got power doors and stuff, and I do. So here's the deal. I'm gonna tell you how I get mad at the devil in the devil's world. I can't see on this phone. Oh, here I go. Now I'm gonna show you all my doorknobs. Where's the camera? They're broken, and that's because these were made out of plastic. They're broken. Even on the other side, they're broken. I don't have to go over there. So now, at first when they got broken because grandkids were pulling on them, swinging on them. Different people you may give rides to, they snatching on the knobs. But here's the deal when I say that the devil is slick. When I was a child, the door handles were made out of steel, so you couldn't break that. But doors today, they got plastic handles. Now, when I speak of the devil and his evil, wicked self, these people that manufacture these cars and stuff, they slick. They sit around and they think of ways to screw you, to get over on you, to get off in your pocket. They know good and well that plastic handles were not going to be the solution for cars, because why? These plastic handles are exposed to the weather, the elements, rain, wind, snow, cold, and over time, that plastic is going to give and it'll break, and it'll do just what happened here, has broken on all of my doors. And then my brother, being a shade tree, he was showing me how I could get in and grip this handle and get in here. But over time, that broke. So I was saying, you know what, Pauline? After a while, you're gonna have to be crawling in the back. You got to crawl through the back to get in your car. But I told you, I think of stuff. I think of ways of how to rig up things. I'm a problem solver. I solve problems. So I came up with a solution. Now, I can still open this back door by gripping it here. So what I've done is I've attached a string, a rope. Well, it's a cord. It's an old cord. And I've attached it to the front door. So the way I get in my car is I pull on this and watch. The front door will open, but you got to make sure that it doesn't catch back. And then I get in. Oh my God. And that's how I get in my car. And I ain't worried about it. Oh, let me put this back. Oh, now it's good and hot. That's how I get in my car. Whew. And I ain't worried about it. That's why I say it's good to get where I am. Let me put y'all back up here. Because where I am mentally, I don't care about you smarty pants out there that want to say what you want to say, because you have a right to say what you want to say. You have a right to feel the way that you want to feel. You have a right to your opinion, and I have a right for mine. And my opinion stands that I'm not getting up off of no $250 for no each door to get no car handles fixed. And what I have rigged up works perfectly. I thought that was a dog. That's a man over there coughing. But what I have rigged up works perfectly fine for me. And on the closed tip, that works perfectly fine for me too. Because I ain't trying to impress nobody. I ain't trying to be around nobody. And if you want to do what you do what you do, and I do what I do. And everybody can be happy. Everybody can be happy. And everything is going to be everything all the way to the grave. I'm going to drive my little car as long as I keep my oil changed. And you might notice that it's awfully dirty. But see, I done come to grips with everything. I can pay for a detailing, in which I will in time, if that's what I so choose to do. But I'm not really worried about nothing. Because I started getting aggravated. I'm like, Paulette, as much as you have been assistance to others and help, you would think that the ones that are around me that are young and capable and able would say, come on, Grandma, let me clean your car out for you. Let me detail it. No. You think that the people that I allow to use my car to go back and forth to a job or to look for a job or to pick them up from their jobs and take them to their job, you think they would say, let me be sweet and kind to this old woman and give her detailing on her car. When I was able to do it, I used to do it myself, you know, because I didn't do a lot of pristine cleaning, but I was able to vacuum it out and wash it down and take it to the car wash and hose it down. But it's really a task for me to do any of that now. And I've come up with the thought in my mind, I don't care. As long as it's rolling and it's running and it's operating efficiently for me, I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine. I'm satisfied with it. I'm satisfied with everything the way that it is, because I got other things on the plate that are bigger and more interest than the car. So, you know, I don't care about the broken door handles. I'm not trying to get a new car. I had a friend pulled up and they were showboating their little shiny car and what all. I'm like, good for you, because I ain't fixing to wrestle with them high payments and cars today to get a new one. Oh my God, it scares me to even think about it. And if this one break down, or should break down, and I don't even want to say that even in telling you that if it should, I wouldn't be in the market for a new car anyway. I'd go get me a hoopty, a second-hand, or used car. Ain't no way. I'm going to the grave, just relax, just like I am. This is paid for. I don't owe nobody. I'm riding free. I may not be riding clean, looking spruced up and shiny and all that stuff, but I'm riding anyway. And I'm getting to point A, from point A to point B, just like I'm doing now. Just like you doing in your shiny new one. And I ain't got that big, hefty payment on my back, and I ain't got to worry about no full insurance. Come on, man, give me a break. You gotta lighten up your load somewhere in life, and that's why I choose to lighten up mine. And that's why I'm on my mind to just get cowboy boots, because I got it in my mind what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get the cowboy boots and wear them right onto the grave. And it'll be a part of my uniform. When you see me, there goes the old lady with cowboy boots and a particular dress. I'll probably go shopping and find me a particular style of dress that will go along with my cowboy boots, and that's what you'll see me in. That's what you will see me in 24/7, 7 days a week, because I really been bowed out on the stage with all that other. And I could do as others have done or doing, but I choose not to, because I don't see no purpose in it. I don't see no reason to do it. I really don't. And I'm not really being negative about those that do it, as long as you do it in the appropriate fashion, because you wouldn't want to see me out here in no dress cutting me up around my hindside and singing my old wrinkled tail. So, as long as you keep it respectable and decent, then you go ahead and do what you want. And you ain't gonna catch me with my face plastered down with no makeup, because I never was a makeup girl anyway, and I can't stand nothing on my fingers. So you don't have to worry about ever seeing me with long claws, and I don't like all that. Stuff stick with me. When I was in school, in middle school, probably was, I don't know, 8th or 9th grade, somewhere around there, 9th grade, 10th grade, I had 2 home economics teachers. And I can remember one, Miss White. Miss White taught us how to clean our workstations up. And she would tell us to do the blind man test when you clean your workstation up. When you take your dish rag, your dish towel, and clean your countertops off, she say take your hand, just your naked hand, and rub it across the countertop. And if you don't feel anything, then you got up all of the debris, all of the stuff that you were cooking with, you got all that up. Well, she also told us that you have to be clean under your fingernails when you're handling the food, and that stuck with me. So I'm big on that. I don't want nobody feed me no food and they got them long fingernails, because I know through the course of a day your hands going everywhere, and I wash mine a lot. That's why they so dry and shriveled up. But them long fingernails be collecting dirt under there, and ain't no telling what else. It's making me want to throw up thinking about it now. But I don't want no long fingernails. I don't want no fingernails on my hand. I don't want my own natural fingernails to be long. So I know darn well I'm not going to glue nothing on my hand. And when I was young, and I tried that, back in the day when I was young, a young woman, they had a thing where you could put formaldehyde into nail polish. And they said that was because it would stimulate your nails to grow. Well, my mother was doing that. She was putting that formaldehyde in her fingernail polish, painting her fingernails. Her fingernails, they were growing. But I, for some reason, that day just decided that I wanted to paint my fingernails. And I took her fingernail polish, and unbeknownst to me, she done loaded that fingernail polish up with formaldehyde. head that started hurting. And I was living here locally, and I was staying in an apartment, and I took that nail polish home with me, and I said, well, when I get through with my day or doing whatever I'm doing and I'm in my relaxed chill mode, I'm going to sit down and paint my fingernails. But I didn't know she had put that formaldehyde in there. And I painted my fingernails with that fingernail polish, and it didn't happen until I had got all 10 fingernails painted. And after I painted the last fingernail, my fingers started tingling and feeling funny. The tips of them, they started hurting. And I'm like, what's going on with my fingers? Why are they tingling like this? And they started hurting. And it grew in intensity. It started throbbing, just going bonk, bonk. Looked like all 10 fingers was just doing that. And I got nervous. And I jumped on the phone and I called Mama. I said, Mama, I said, I done sit up here and painted my fingernails, and now they hurting. I said, and I'm trying to get this polish up, and I didn't have no nail polish removed. I said, and this is hurt. She just busted out laughing. She started laughing at me, and she was like, that polish you got had formaldehyde in it. And she said, and that's what you got on your fingernails. Man, I was in a panic mode. I was like, help me, what can I do to get this off? And I managed to get it off. I got me some nail polish removed, and I got the actual polish off. But I had to sit down and sit with a bowl of cool water and stick my hands in it to try to help get that pain away from my fingers. And another thing about me, when I would do, that's my neighbor, I was going to roll the window down and holler at him. When I did put polish on my fingernails, which was not often at all, I'm telling you, maybe if I had to count 3 or 4 times in my life, I would usually wind up picking it off, trying to get it off, because there's something about anything on my fingernails, I can't stand it. I don't want it. I won't rest with it on there. It has to come off. And I guess I'm the same way with makeup. When I did apply makeup early in my life when I was young, I would wind up rubbing my eyes, or looking like a fool afterwards anyway, so I didn't see no point in all of it, so I don't put it on. But yeah, I'm back home now, and I'm sitting here with the car running air. And y'all, I tried to go back into my little project, so I moved off. All this thing, I'm talking about trying to reconnect now. This internet want to jump in and out. Oh, there ain't no gap making me made it. But yeah, my little project that I was trying to do, I can't do it. I don't have enough physical strength. I get my back and my legs start hurting, so I just left it alone. I'm leaving it alone. And what I'm going to do is probably pay somebody to come and do my yard the way I want it, get it in shape, clean up the sidewalk and all that stuff. And I know it's probably going to cost me a good little piece of money. But other than that, I'm not going to worry about it. I ain't going to worry about none of it and nothing. None of it and nothing. And those of you that live here locally, if you come past and see my yard and the grass is almost as tall as me, just know this, that Paulette is sitting somewhere saying, I ain't worried about it. I ain't going to worry about it. I'll get around to everything. But if I don't, so be it. So be it. I got a little deal going on. The neighbor of mine that would cut it from time to time because he's got a riding lawnmower, he came and he presented me with a solution. He said, well, you know what, Paulette? He said, I can't do it all the time. He said, but I'll come and cut your grass from time to time. He said, but what I want you to do, he said, buy some gas. And he said, for my car, he said, I put cheap gas. He said, for my riding lawnmower, I have to put expensive gas. He said, so just buy a little gas every now and then. And he said, then I'll come and cut it. So I said, okay, deal, bet, we'll do that. So between him and there's plenty of guys that be walking up and down this street with lawnmowers. And then I know where a couple of businesses are. So I know how to, handle my business. But it's just, like I said, I ain't worried about nothing, don't care about too much of nothing. If it ain't about me feeling good, if it ain't about God, I ain't gonna obsess over it. See, that's the kind of little stuff that I'm talking about that used to worry me, because here I go with telling too much of the business, but I was paying my grandson so much money, every month to keep my grass cut. That didn't work out too good, because honey, I'm telling you, the young people today, they expect you to do this, but then they don't want to hold their end of the bargain. And I kept paying, which is what I was doing with another family member when I lived in the other spot, and they weren't. I'm like, you quit doing this. If you're paying for a service, and the deal is they supposed to render you the service. If you're not getting the service, they shouldn't get the money. So I quit doing it. I said, grandson or not, I'm not going to keep paying you no money, and then I'm out here wading through the grass. My backyard now looks really bad. But I'm not going to, I quit. I said, no, I'd rather get somebody who's going to actually do the job and pay them, as opposed to just paying the money out to somebody simply because they related to you, or they're your grandchild, or they're whatever, but they're not holding up their end of the bargain. They're not doing the job. Time out for that mess. Go find another food, because this food done closed shop. I ain't no food no more. I'm not doing nothing out of no love. Oh, I'm just running my mouth. I saw another content creator, and I'm telling y'all, she made me cry too. So I'm cool now. Oh my God, okay. She made me cry too. Young girl. I think she said she's 24. She was 24. But when I came across her video, she was crying. She was having a bad day. She was born with no arms. And I'm safe in saying that, because I know that you guys have probably seen other people on here that are missing limbs. So you won't know particular who I'm talking about, because I can't even call her name now, because I done forgot what her name was. But she had no arms, and she was having a bad day. And I listened to her. She was talking for about 30 minutes. I might need to go to CVS and get this anti-acid stuff to have it in the house, because I feel like, I'm trying to get indigestion in my chest part. I'm telling you, this aging is for the birds. But she was crying, and what she said, it was really heartfelt. She was saying all of the things that I had said to y'all yesterday, that you try to be thankful for the fact that you are here, that you're born, that you're alive. And she said that she was aware that other people have things that they have to go through in life too. And she was saying she was thankful and all of that. And she said, but this world is cruel and it's mean, and it is. And she was saying that people will say stuff that'll hurt your feelings, and that's the truth. And this social media, it thrives on that. I've watched people, they get on here, and because they feel like they're safe, you can't really see them, they'll just get on here and type a bunch of crap, Ooh, there's a big old spider, but thank God, ouch, 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 he's not in. He's on the window. You get away from here, because you better not come up in this car. Ooh, I wished I had my raid. I'm the raid queen. Ooh, let me get something to get him, because if he come in this car, y'all gonna see me jumping around like a superwoman. But she was crying, and she was talking, and you could tell she was having a real tough time dealing with her disability on this particular day, and having to accept it, and the challenges that she goes through. And she was saying that when she was small, a child, the doctors had said, ooh, you know what, this spider must have a brain, because when I stuck this roll of toilet paper out here to swat him, it actually ran. It ran in that direction, and I wasn't even close to it. But, ooh, let me let y'all see this spider if I can. Oh, let me see if, where can y'all see? No, I can't show y'all. Let me see. Oh, there it is. When I turn the phone want to go dead. Whatever. I gave y'all a glance of it. Back to me. But she was having a rough day, and I felt for her. I felt a lot of empathy for her, because she was an attractive young girl, 24 years old. Oh, and she was saying that when she was small, she was saying, hi, Jimmy, you watching, thanks for watching, tuning in. But she was saying when she was a little girl, the doctors had said that she wouldn't live to get to a certain age, but she proved them to be wrong, and now she's 24 years old. And so what she was saying, I really wish that I could be in the house on the desktop, because that's what I want to plan to do. Run my little statement, that this is the freedom of speech, or whatever I see the other content creators put on their phone, and ain't gonna be no fancy editing up here, because I don't know how to do all that. So I'm just going to show you the disclaimer from time to time. I'm going to just click on the screen so you can see the disclaimer, but I'm going to be running my mouth, and I'll probably be camouflaging whatever video I'm talking about, because there's so much stuff that I be seeing that I can tell is planted. In other words, the government has planted it in the phone, just like they do with the TV. The TV is a propaganda box. So a lot of stuff that you see on the television that you think is real, it ain't real. It never happened. But people don't think. And I was one that didn't think. And that's why I don't watch TV to this day. And that's why I have a better experience with the phone, because now I have the ability to censor what it is that I'm watching. You can do that kind of sort of on TV, but you have a better handle on the phone. But I've seen stuff on this phone that I know the government has planted in here, because they know that everybody is asleep. So when people talk about the Matrix and all this kind of stuff, come on, y'all, it's for real. They're not playing with you. That's not no joke. It really is a matrix. It really is a matrix that we live in. And this is why I told you that when God opened my eyes and I was able to see through the eyes of God. Now, I'm not telling you that I am God. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that as long as I was asleep, as long as the devil had me cloaked in darkness, and I didn't know who God was, I was going along with this little program, the way that this program is set up. And so life was what life was. But it's like, when you start actively seeking God and you start looking for the real Jesus and you find him, and God opens your eyes so that you can see. He actually does that. And when he does, now when you look out into the world, you're no longer looking through the eyes of somebody who's cloaked in darkness. You're looking with the knowledge and the understanding that you've gotten from God. And now when you look into the world, you can actually see Satan and his modus operandi, how he operates, what he does, how he runs things. This is the signs and the symbols that God is talking about. Now you're able to see the signs and the symbols. I see them everywhere, and everyone whose eyes open, they see them as well. And the teacher that God had led me to, he sees too but he just don't focus on it. And that's what I do. I don't focus on it. I know about it, but I don't keep a focus on it, because I know at the end of the day, God wins. God already has won. So if you will, this game has got to be played out. It's got to be played out to the end. And God is the victor. He's already won. But in the process of the game going to its end, we got to experience all of the stuff that's going on, that's happening. And it's nothing that we can do as people to divert the devil or prevent him from doing what he's doing. But we can maneuver ourselves. We can maneuver ourselves through the situations. But there's going to be times where you may fall as one of the casualties of war to the devil, because that's just the way it's set up. And that's what a Christian who's trying to walk in the pathway that Jesus has set out for us to walk, that's why you want to be strong, so that when if you should be confronted by Satan and some of his minions, you'll be able to stand. I know you guys, if you've ever watched Gino on some occasions when he's preaching and he's telling you of some of his experiences and his trials of his walk with God, being called to the ministry to do what he's doing, and he's giving you conversations where he told you his life has been threatened. He's been in situations where people have sent him messages that they want to see him dead. He's told you time and time again, he's told his people that listen to him that he's been offered everything, all kind of money. He's offered to be given millions of dollars. See, when you have gotten hold of the authentic Jesus, that's when you're gonna really see the trials and the tribulations, and you're gonna have to stand. That's if you truly. And I want to stand. That's all it is to it. But this world is full of Satan and all of his little shenanigans, and most people can't see it. And it's too big of a task to try to get individuals to see. This is why it's set up the way it is. God is not going to force you into he's not going to force you into, you know what I don't like now? I'm fixing to switch topics. Now, whenever someone is going live, they will, Facebook is a troublemaker. Now they want to stick on to the notification that someone that you know also follows that individual, and they're going to watch their lives. I don't like that. Facebook is a troublemaker. Facebook, YouTube, they're all troublemakers. Man, I don't want to get y'all confused, and I want to stay in sync. But back to not being able to see the tampering of the world of what Satan has done. When I told y'all earlier on the video yesterday that God's pathway is very narrow, you see the space between my hand? We're going to say that that's God's pathway. But Satan has put all kind of stuff in the way. He's put all kind of stuff in the way. And that's to keep individuals from actually finding the pathway to Jesus. Oh, Satan think he's smart. But see, God is the ultimate smart. He created Satan. So it's no way that Satan is going to block everybody from finding God, because God has already set that up, and he's already made allocations for that. He's put it where if you are sincere and you're truly looking for God, push the seat back. you're truly looking for God, you're going to find him. Because he tells you in the scriptures, he says, if you seek him, you will find. The word is will. The operative word is will find. He didn't say you might find or you possibly find. He said, if you seek him, you will find him. So no matter what Satan does to try to keep people diverted in different directions and to confuse the matter, God knows the heart. And like I said to you yesterday, before you were even formed in your mother's womb, God already knew about us. So he knew who will and who won't, who's sincere and who ain't. But Satan runs this world. And this is why I laugh a lot of times and I be calling y'all fools. I be reiterating what God says in the Bible when he says a fool. And you really need to check out Proverbs and the book of Ecclesiasticus, because it discusses the fool a lot in there. And I get a wealth of understanding reading those. When I read the whole Bible, entire Bible, my favorite chapters, my favorite books was Ecclesiasticus, Proverbs, Jasher. I mean, really, honestly. But when you don't know the real God, when you don't know who he is, there's no way that you can know who Satan is, truly. You got to know these two very, very well. If you know God, God is the key and the answer. If you're looking for him and you find the authentic Jesus, then he's going to help you be able to see Satan. And then once you're able to see Satan and you're going to see how he operates and you're going to get the understanding from God, God's raised up teacher, how to identify the wiles. The Bible says the wiles of Satan, W-I-L-E-S. When you recognize the wiles of Satan and how he operates, because see, basically Satan, he when he was on the scene back in the time when Jesus was walking among us, he was doing the same thing then that he's doing now. That's what people don't get. They don't understand. Man, I tell you, Paulette, people don't know that Satan is doing the same thing today. He ain't changed. He's doing the same thing today that he did back then. And that is sacrifices. He got his signs and his symbols up everywhere. He got his secret organizations. He got his followers. He got his people that's doing his will. Doing the same thing. He ain't changed. He ain't changed. So, I don't know. I'll let you just go from one place to the other. But this is what happens when you get up in age and you retire. I'm going to do some craft stuff soon. I'm going to do some of that kind of stuff too. Now, where else do I want to go in this conversation? That's the mailman. So how y'all doing today? Say something to me, Jimmy. I mean, if it's not religious, if you're not seeking me out for religious answers, then I'm probably going to be good to be approached. Because I'm not going to be answering no questions if they're religious in nature, because I don't want to be seen as a teacher. Doesn't mean that I don't know. I might know, but I'm not willing to step out there on that ledge and call myself trying to school or verse somebody in it, because if I err even the smallest bit, I could be in trouble. First of all, God don't acknowledge a woman being a teacher. And I know what my place is. I'm supposed to mentor my younger females. I'm supposed to instruct them in how to be godly wives, godly women, how to conduct their homes and all that. But I'm not supposed to be out here hijacking. I'm not supposed to be out here operating in the capacity of teaching nobody. I'm just not supposed to be doing it. But what my thinking is, when I jump on Facebook and I'm doing what I'm doing now, just talking, I'm not viewing myself as teaching nobody nothing. I'm giving you insight into the joy that I feel in knowing that I eventually, after all these years of living, I discovered and found out who God is. And I'm so elated with it. I want to let everybody in the world who is actually sincere about finding God, I want them to know that we've been hoodwinked and we've been bamboozled and we've been in the darkness all of our life. And that the real Jesus that we thought we had is only a phony Jesus. He was given to us from ignorance. He's given to us from ignorance. And that's what I want people to know. That this Jesus that they call themselves serving, he don't fit the mold in no kind of way. Not the Bible that I've been reading, which is the Bible more likely everybody's been reading, minus the books that I discuss about that you guys don't know nothing about. But the Jesus that I know, he's not that same Jesus that everybody else is talking about. Like when I told you yesterday, some content creators, they'll say God is elevating them and he's got them to where they are, and they doing a lot of bragging, about their finances, and they want to talk cute and smart to the people that's watching them. I keep quiet. I don't say nothing, but I'm saying to myself, what Jesus you talking about? Because the Jesus you talking about is certainly not the one that I've read about in the Bible. The Jesus that I've read about in the Bible is Jesus that has been instructed to me by the teacher that God has raised up to teach me about who Jesus is. He ain't the one that you're talking about. Because Jesus ain't for the tomfoolery. You ain't going to catch Jesus out here cussing and doing the things that he do. And I'm going to stick with Paulette and use Paulette as an example. Every time I go to that casino, baby, Jesus ain't condoning me going to no casino. I don't care if it's me or who it is. Jesus ain't condoning nothing that's against his teaching or his laws or his standards. He's just not going to bend them for you. So when I hear content creators say, I'm this, I'm that, and God is with me, and you a lie. Because God don't mix up with mess. God don't mix up with mess. He just don't do it. And because you say it, don't make it so. For you say it, don't make it so. So where do I want to go? I said that to say that to Jimmy. I don't mind you talking to me on my page, but just don't come at me from a religious standpoint with questions, because even if I may feel like I know the answer or I know what the correct thing is, I'm not going to feel comfortable in explaining directly to you. There's a difference in me getting on here talking and just espousing and being who Paulette is, and you tuning in and you watching me and you listening to what I'm saying. If something that I say catches you and has of any interest to you, or you want to investigate, you know who I follow. I follow God. That's the first thing I want to say, because I know most people going to say, yes, she watched that Gino Jennings, and he's this, he's that. Gino tell you out his own mouth, he ain't got no followers. This is what be making me look at people with big question mark. What's wrong with you fools? Gino ain't got no followers. Gino ain't got no church. He tells you this. I don't have a following. I don't have no church. He was raised up and put in that position by God to do what he's doing. And that is to tell you what God's word says. And because you don't like it, you want to say he's this and he's that. It's not none of him. And it's a two-way street. It's a two-way street. You got to read for yourself what God's word is saying. And if your heart is right, if God has pricked your heart and you sincere and you want to know the authentic God or the authentic Jesus, he will prick your heart and he will lead you in the pathway that you should go. He'll lead you to the teacher, the person he's raised up to instruct his people in how they should live their life and which way they should go. I can't make it no simpler, no plainer, no clearer. And neither can Gino. Nobody is following Gino Jennings as though he's some kind of God or some kind of king or he's a Jim Jones. Nobody is being twisted by their arm and no pistol to their head to run and follow no Gino Jennings. Because Gino Jennings tell you out his own mouth, he's just a man, baby. And he's subject to fall just like you or I. And he's working as hard as I should be working. And anybody else that's looking for the real Jesus, he working hard to keep his spot. Because he knows that that spot that he's in, it can be slipped and out of his grasp in a twinkling of an eye. And the same for Paulette. That's why Paulette don't want to open herself up to getting into no verbal back and forth with an individual about no religious nothing. You do you. You do you. And if you feel that what you listening in of time to time that you hear me say and you don't agree with it, that's fine. Move on. Go on about your business. Go on. Let God reach you when it's God's time to reach you. Because that's what he did for me. You know, if God is going to call you, he'll call you. It may not be for you to hear from through me. It may not be for you to get no awakening from nothing that I'm saying. But somebody might. Somebody might. Because I remember one sermon that Gino did when he, when I say I be thinking about everything and I be thinking about all kind of stuff. He said that God can speak to you through a drunk if that's what he want to do. God can really do whatever he want to do. In other words, he could use a drunk to give you a little sight of information, to give you a little insight into something. So if this toothless old hag sitting up here with all these body ailments is running her mouth, really Gino advised us, to not be on the social platform. But I'm thinking that I'm mature enough to be able to handle this because, first of all, I had my experiences early on when I first got on the social media. I'm not going to comment on just anybody's post I really don't comment very much at all. That's me personally. I just have my little thoughts and I move on. I have my little thoughts and I move on. Even times when my heart has been open to people, the most you may get from me would be emoji. A heartfelt emoji. Letting you know that in spirit I feel you and I have sympathy for you. I have empathy for you. If you have the loss of a loved one, I'm going to express my condolences to you by either saying that with my typing, condolences and prayers to you, or I'll give an emoji heart. But rarely am I going to get on here and say anything to you because I know in today's world, people don't want no correction. They don't want it, baby. I've seen it all my life coming through life as just Paulette. But now that God has opened my understanding and I'm following the teacher that God has raised up, I'm seeing people don't want no correction. They just simply don't want it. And they will fight you tooth and nail to keep going in the pathway that they going, because that's the one they comfortable with. They feel most relaxed with that. Don't you know that there's a lot of times that when Gino is doing his sermons, he's preaching and saying stuff and it's just hitting me, knocking me all upside my head, slapping me all upside my big face. The more he preaching and the more he's explaining and the more he's talking about, I'm listening and I'm hearing and I'm understanding, and I'm like, that's you, Paulette. When I was sucking on them cigarettes, I had went down off in water and got baptized in the name of Jesus Christ. It's been, I don't forgot now, 4 or 5 years ago, but I was still puffing on them cigarettes. See, the teacher told us, we're not going to get baptized and then overnight you're going to be walking that walk that you're supposed to be walking with Christ. You're not going to be doing it overnight. You're just simply not going to be doing that. But I was using that cigarette in my mind saying, oh, you'll eventually get rid of the cigarettes. You'll quit. But I was steady puffing. When I had my medical crisis and I came nearly losing my feet, and I went to see, the teacher has explained this to us too. Sometimes I hate when people say, God trying to get your attention. God ain't never trying to do nothing. He wants your attention, he'll get it. Trust me. He wants your attention, he'll get it. So when I went to the hospital from a medical emergency and my feet were feeling numb, I lost the feeling in my feet. And I was sitting here in this house, bending my feet back and forth, and scared just crazy. And I got my son to drive me to the emergency room. And when I got to the emergency room, baby, them doctors, if you've seen this on TV, that's how they was doing me. They got busy, and they got busy fast. They say, she got to be sent to Tulsa. Get her out of here. Get her out. Call the ambulance. We got to rush her to Tulsa. Rush her to Tulsa. That ambulance put me in there and took me to Tulsa. When I got to Tulsa, St. Francis, same thing. Off the gurney and straight to surgery. I was in surgery. I woke up on the surgery table. I actually woke up and I was fighting them. They had me strapped down. And one of the surgeons, who was a female, she grabbed hold of me. It was 3 of them in the room. And we was in a dark room. And it was a bright light down on my lower extremities of my body. So now I'm telling y'all what I know to be was taking place. I was in the middle of surgery. Let me hurry and get this candy out of my mouth. I was in the middle of surgery and I woke up. I woke completely up and I sat up. But they had me strapped down from like the waist down and my legs. I couldn't move my legs. And one of the doctors, which was a female doctor, because there was 3 of them in there, they were down at my feet. One of them rushed up to me and she was trying to force me to lay back down. And she was like, lay down, Miss Scott. She said, we're trying to save your feet. And she said that just that rough at me. And I got into a confrontation with her. I'm like, now y'all trying to kill me. I said, let me up, let me up. I was out of my head. And I say, call my sister, call my daughter. I just kept going from sister to daughter. Call my sister, call my daughter, call my sister. Because I didn't trust them. I didn't know what was going on. So, sure enough, the phone was put to my ear and I heard my sister. She said, lay down, Paulette. She said, them people trying to save your feet. And when my sister said that, I laid back down. And then I was out. So they must have gave me some more knockout juice. And when I came through, I was in ICU. I'm not going to say I was in ICU for a month, but I was in there for nearly a month. I was in there. They moved me in St. Francis Hospital. They moved me to 3 floors. I started off in ICU, but which I didn't know I was in ICU for a long period of time. And then they moved me to another floor. And then they moved me the third time to a 3rd floor. And then after that period of time had elapsed, they wanted to not release me out to my home, but they wanted to release me out to what they call a rehab facility so that I could further heal and then receive the assistance I needed because one of my legs had been operated on. But when the doctor came in the room, don't let me get off course. When the doctor came in the room to see me, this is what he said to me. I'm watching this spider. He done jumped from the window to the side over here. Let me get my toilet paper ready so I can kill him. He said, Miss Scott, he said, you walked in here on them feet. He said, you walked in your hospital locally. I said, yeah, I walked in there. He said, you walked in there? I said, I walked in there. He said, most people that come to the hospital in the condition that you were in, he said, usually their feet are completely black. I'm talking to you. He said, usually their feet are completely black. He said, and there's no way to save them, and we have to amputate. I walked in on my feet. They were not black. And they performed the surgery, but the doctors was just in awe of me. The doctors were in awe. You walked in here on these feet? I sure did. Your feet wasn't black? No, they weren't. And we didn't have to cut them off. But they let me know that the condition that I was in, that's what the outcome usually was for patients that came into the hospital in the position that I was in. But like I said, I'm telling y'all, I lived all of my life not really knowing who God is. And when I listened to the young lady today, as she was speaking through tears and crying, and the one that had no arms, she was saying, I really wanted to try to point her to Gino. But I said, Paulette, you stay out of that. Don't you inbox her nothing. Don't you make no comment up under her post. I prayed for her. I said, let her find God. Because I could see the hurt in this young lady. I could actually feel her pain because Paulette done been there. I've had experiences. I got both of my arms, but I'm telling you, I've had the days that I felt just like that young girl. You know, what is all this for? Why? I felt like I'm a good person. I got a good heart. And I think a lot of us feel that about ourselves. We think that we have good hearts and we're good people. And I think basically we are. Some of us are. And it's hard for me to fathom, but there are actual individuals that live in this world that are just evil, wicked, and mean, and just not right. This is when I tell you that God help you to see that this world is set up by Satan. It's kind of hard to fathom that there are people who are actually that way. They don't want no part of God. They don't want him. They don't trust in him. They don't believe in him. And they work against him. And they don't want no parts of him. So they going on with their life and they actually are serving Satan. I need my statement to read that I have a right to say what I'm saying. I'm going to get that statement up. The copyright. It's not copyright. Whatever. But just like little Nas, with all that tomfoolery that he's doing, all of that's part of Satan. That boy sliding down a pole, dancing the pole that he's sliding down to the devil. Then him coming out with them shoes with 666 on them and a Bible verse and blood in the soul. Y'all just don't know. Y'all don't know this world is ran by people who don't want God. They on Satan's team. I know I need to keep my mouth hush. Some of y'all got to keep coming in, visiting me over and over and over, and let me talk so that you can get on cue with where I am with the world stage. Because I was getting cued into the world before I found God. Because I had a lot of questions. I'm like, well, why? Well, why? And then when God finally opened my eyes, now I knew the why. Because I could see. And half of you guys that even follow me or watch me on this little bitty phone will say to yourself, oh, she just talking and she don't know what she talking about. But, you know, you have your right to feel that way, think that way, and say what you want to say. But I know different. And it's not going to be no wait and see game, because I could be dead and out of here before you even recognize what I'm saying to be truth or to be reality, or to understand that Gino is the teacher that God has sent. A lot of y'all don't realize that before God sends destruction, he sends one of his teachers. He sends one of his warners. Look at Noah. He warned people for 120 years about the flood coming. And they all did the same thing that y'all doing right now to Gino. Laughing at him, poking fun, talking about him, saying he crazy, saying he's a cult, saying that he's saying this, that, and that's this, that, and the other. That's because you're ignorant. You're a fool. You don't know God. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you just don't know. And when Noah kept preaching about the flood coming and hitting this ground, they was laughing at him, probably calling him crazy too. And from what I read, was it in Jasher? From what I read in Jasher, the people was doing the same thing they was doing when it started raining, when the earth got so flooded and everything was people was still, they was sinning in the rain. Man, Paulette, you need to shut up, because when I was reading it, I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, I really love reading the Word of God, but as I was reading that particular passage, that part, I was boggled at the stupidity of people. I was boggled at the thought of, boy, can I see the water rising on the earth and I be still doing what these people still doing? Wasn't you scared? When did you get scared? When your feet was lifted up off the ground and you saw, well, it ain't nowhere to get no rest. Just wherever you go, it's just this water taking over. Did you get scared then? I got a lot of questions. If I were to be in Gino's presence, I would have a lot of questions. And perhaps he could answer some, and then perhaps he can't. Because I have listened to him, and I know that Gino have said on occasions, you know, that he ain't trying to know it all. Because for one thing, he know he can't know it all. Stay focused, Paulette. But my question was, when I was reading that portion, how the people was all around the ark, you know, demanding to get in. And the animals, they stayed there. Even the animals were brought to the ark in the way that God's... Paulette, you need to shut up. But I said, who knows? The animals might have been stayed there to help protect the ark, to keep the people from, you know, trying to get in or whatever. Well, Paulette, shut up. Shut up. But yeah, the devil is real today. And he done clouded up the pathway to Jesus. He got a lot of you fools convinced that where you are is where you're supposed to be. And that's why when I gave my little talks before, and I would try to demonstrate that you got to start somewhere. But if you say you start here and this person is disconnected from God, they don't know who God is, they don't know how to find him or nothing like that, and then if they have children, well, you can't give your children what you ain't got. So that means you can't give your kids nothing. So now the kids ain't got nothing. So when they have kids, they can't give kids nothing. So, they just passing this brokenness down. They passing this ignorance down. So if I want to say Barney the dinosaur is purple, if that's the lie I want to spread, and I convince my kids that Barney the dinosaur is purple, well then when they go out into the world, now mama said that Barney the dinosaur is purple, so the dinosaur is purple. But if somebody come along and say, no, the dinosaur is not purple, it's green, you ain't wanting to hear that because you done been hearing all your life. Your mama told you the dinosaur is purple, so you're going to believe that. Well, it's the same with Jesus. In my estimation of it, people have been disconnected from God. Because in the biblical times, the priests that were allocated to be God's priests for his people, they would go daily and hear the word of God being given to them all day long. And then they would go back to their communities and regurgitate the law. And then those communities would receive it. And then they would go into their households and they would give out God's law. This is how things was. But then after this break, when nobody's doing that anymore, because you got the devil active, and he's over here imitating God. He's lying and he's putting up falsehoods and he's making the pathway cloudy and messed up. And then if you foolish enough and you not staying close to God and you're not able to recognize, is this of God or this is not of God, then when that person is telling you whatever they telling you and it's not of God, it's not 100%, it might be, this kind of stuff flying up in this car. It might be a little bit of it, might be a truth, but it's sprinkled in with some lies and some twisted stuff. And then you swallow that. You believe it. But if you're staying connected to God, and that is you staying connected in his word and you being prayerful and you just stand right here with God. Now when somebody say something that's not of God, you're going to be able to spot it. You're going to be able to hear it. It's going to be like ringing a gong. The minute they say something that's not right, it's going to be like a big bomb. Boom. Hey, that ain't none of God. That's why I told you when I hear content creators say, well, God is with me on this and God is with me on that, and then you looking at the way that person is living and how they speaking and how they moving about in their life, you see, that ain't the way God move. So I know God ain't backing you and you doing this X, Y, and Z. No, he ain't backing you. I don't think God is backing me when I be at the casino doing this here. He ain't backing me. And I think about it all the time. I said, Paula, if you draw that last breath and you out there doing this here, you hellbound. Boy, you got them chutes that they have in hotels and motels where you can go to it and drop your trash down and just shoot down straight to the trash bin, or you can drop clothes and it goes straight to the laundry area. If I'm caught and that last breath is breathed out there in that casino and I'm out there doing this here right here, your girl gonna be going straight to hell. Zoom, hell. God ain't no mixed up with none of this crap that people got going on out here in the world. That Satan got you convinced that you can be this way and still be okay with God. That's why it get me when I hear people say, God, no, I'm a sinner and he accept me. He know you a sinner and he tell you to come as you are. He know that there are going to be prostitutes. He know there are going to be drunks. He know there's going to be thieves and murderers. You got all them in the Bible that's going to come to him. But he don't expect you to stay and remain as you are. He don't expect you to remain a murderer. He don't expect you to kill somebody once a week and yet he going to be there for you. No, sir, ma'am. No, ma'am. He don't expect you to be dressing like no hoe, and then he gonna be there for you. No, ma'am. No, he ain't. That's why Paulette throw in there, I can't be going to no casino then talking about God is for me. No, he ain't. I couldn't be puffing on no cigarette and talking about God is for me. No, he ain't. Because, see, that's the difference in the God that y'all serve and the one that I have found out to be who God is. He ain't taking this crap y'all talking about. He ain't this mushy-mushy God that y'all talking about. The one that do what you want him to do. The one that bends for you. He don't bend. He don't bend for nobody. You got to bend for him. And I say that he's moved my life around. I'm coming to terms with it. He's moved my life around. I ain't got no excuse now. I'm here by myself 100% of the time. So I have no hindrances to keep me from being in constant prayer and on my knees and asking God with prayer and supplication to complete me and to bring me into full circle where I need to be so that I can be assured that I'm in the book of life. And this is what my problem has been. That old saying when I was a child that no man is an island, no man can live alone, to a degree, to an extent, that be an issue. Because sometimes we long to have the company or the presence of another person. But when you are trying to do this Christ walk, that's perhaps one of the main reasons God tell you that you cannot really associate those with those that's not yoked right, because you're on two different wavelengths. You're going in this direction and these others are going in another direction, so they're not going to understand you whatsoever. And although you may understand them, you know by duty bound that you got a duty to yourself and to God to not continue to partake or do what these that have not found God yet, what they doing. You can't keep participating with them, and then you can't even talk to them and say things, because when you do, they just don't. They're not where you are. I'll give you an example. Like, I can't just get up and go visit people. I can, and I have, but I found that when I do that, sometimes what God is laid out and explained, it becomes apparent. This is what he's talking about. I had gone over to a friend's house. I'm not going to call her name. And she kept offering me a glass of wine. And it wasn't like a strong wine. It was kind of like one of these, I don't know. But the fact of the matter was, she kept offering it to me. And I know that we're not to be drinking of no wine of any kind of way. You know, you only drink wine for medicinal purposes. If you are ailing, you got a bad stomach or something, it's all lined out there. Like I said, don't be trying to get me to clue you in on the biblical nothing. I'm just talking and telling you what little bit I know. But I know that I can't be sitting up here drinking no wine. I can't have no wine with my meal, my dinner. I can't be doing all that. You know, can't do it. And people want to, this is another reason why I don't want to be talking Bible. You can listen to me all day long. And when you get tired of listening to me, tune me out and go about your business. But don't sit up and think you're going to get into no conversation with me and have me going back and forth with you, because I ain't. I got that little outline statement on my page that if it's something you believe, I don't want to hear it. Bye, get away from me. If it's something that you think, bye, get away from me. I don't want to hear it. If it's something that you read, bye, get away from me. I don't want to hear it. Because why? There's nobody on planet Earth, absolutely no human air breathing is smarter than God. So I don't care about no book. Whatever book you done read, you just reading some words. And your girl is a bibliophile. I've said that word 1,000 times. I love books. And I used to be a ravenous reader. I would read books until like somebody crazy. And I wasn't in no genre particular. I just liked autobiographical stuff that's real. I didn't want no fantasy. I didn't want no sci-fi. I wanted real stuff. That means autobiographical stuff about people that's real. And then when I got to looking for Jesus, I started encompassing all kind of religious books. And I thought of that word that I hadn't couldn't think of earlier. It's called commentaries, but I had a whole set of commentaries. And anybody that is scripturally wise enough have heard commentaries are books where men have sit down and they've broken the scripture down and into comment. They give their commentary on it. So, but I want you to think now. Who's smarter than God? So, who gonna sit down with commentary and break down the scripture? You're stupid. You got to use your brain and think. God created us. So if he created us, who among us is smart enough to figure out we're the creation? How we gonna figure out the creator? How we gonna come up with answers about the creator? We can't. So for this group of men to sit over here and compile all these books and call them commentaries, it's their way of breaking down what they think the scriptures is saying, what they think. And the Bible tells you itself that it's a book of mysteries. Man, I'm telling you, I need to shut it down because I will get into the teaching mode, and I know that it's just not supposed to be. But it really behooves of individual to pay attention to what I'm saying. That when you pick up a book and call yourself reading something pertaining about God, if it's not the book, you just wasting your time. You wasting energy. You wasting brain cells. Because I did it. I had all of the books. I had the Strong Concordances. I might still even have the commentaries up there in my little library. But one day I went and took the dumpster that the city give us, and I opened it up, and all them books I had lining my wall in my house, I just dumped them in the trash. I was dumping them. And I have a witness to that. The lady, if I call her name, if she remembers, she was there with me. And I was just throwing all these books away. This is when God was slowly opening up my understanding. And she said, why are you throwing all these books away? She said, don't you know you can sell them? She said, you can sell these as used books and you could give them to people. And I'm like, I don't want to give these books to nobody. Because I'll be giving ignorance to other people. I had all kind of Tony Evans stuff. I had all kind of T.D. Jakes stuff. I had Dr. David Jeremiah stuff. John MacArthur was a biggie for me. I used to love everything John MacArthur. I even had a John MacArthur study Bible. When I say John MacArthur study Bible, that right there, I could go off onto a tangent telling you why you shouldn't have nobody's Bible and their name is stuck on it. What you mean, John MacArthur study Bible? John, you ain't none of God. How you gonna have a study Bible? Man, people don't be thinking. You got some people who think they're following God and they have an honest and sincere heart. But if you're wrong, you're wrong. You got those out here that are willfully going in opposition of God. But you got a lot of people who really think that they're going in the way that God means for them to go. And all Paulette is saying is, hey, wake up, because I done lived my life up to this point, and I'm seeing that the pathway of the journey that I was going, which 99.9% of the people are going, is the wrong way. It's the wrong way. But this is like once the cat get out the bag, you can't catch him and get him back. This is why you got to depend on God. Because this world is full of people. I forget what the numbers are now. Over 7 billion people on planet Earth. And you just think about it. All of the different religions that they got out here. That's something I thought about doing. Getting on here and doing discovery time. You know, letting people see and follow along with me on YouTube as we investigate these different religions. Where did the Baptists come from? Who started it? When did it start? So that you can see, so that if you got common sense and you can hear, you can see and understand. These religions, they weren't started by Jesus. Jesus started one. He didn't start no Baptist, Methodist, Hebrew, Israelite. Jesus didn't start all them. Who did? Satan. But y'all too blind to see it. Y'all too blind to see it. That little bit of truth mixed in with a whole bunch of lies and got you confused. And nobody connected to God up here. So they can't pass God down here. They can't pass God. They can't pass him on because they don't know him. And so people are just grabbing hold to anybody and everybody that's hollering Jesus, got Jesus on their lips. And they got the wrong one. And Satan ain't concerned with nothing except keeping you in the dark until you draw that last breath. And when you draw that last breath, he know he done won, because you going to go to hell. You going to hell. He just snatched the soul from going where it should go, following Jesus. Yep. I done went all over the place here. Started off talking about the young lady that was crying, and I could feel empathy for her, and I understand. And I feel like she's open to discovering who God is. But that's up to God to do the drawing. He's the one that's going to do the drawing. And I hope God will, come to her rescue and aid her. Because I can see that she's hurt, and I can see the pain. And I can only phantom in my brain what it must be like. This is the package that she was given. She was born into the world with no arms. And I'm quite sure that her depression, her heartache, and her heartbreak is coming from perhaps sometimes from other people. Because she said in her live when she was talking that people are nasty and can be so cruel and mean and hateful. And I've seen some people on this Facebook being just that, being so cruel and nasty and evil to people. I won't call no name, but it's a man on here that every time he go live, people jumping on there saying something nasty about that man. I don't agree with a lot of stuff that he's doing, but I don't feel that it's up to individuals to jump on his page and just talk about him like he's not human. Because I'm a strong believer that you just keep on living. I had them words said to me. I'm telling y'all, I was in my 20s. I'm sure I was in my 20s, and I worked at a factory here locally. And when you work in a factory among other people, y'all joke and you tease and you play a lot. Anything to make the shift go faster and to make work go faster. So you joke around and you tease with people. And so there was a lot of that going on in the factory where I worked. And this one gentleman who was much older than he was considered at that time an older man, just like somebody would look at me now that's in their 20s and they would view me as an old woman. Well, that's what I'm saying. He was an old man, and he joked and teased along with us all the time, and we were used to him. But this one day, I wasn't in the mood because I was going through some things too, being married and the husband didn't do right and all this stuff. But he walked up to the Lear. We called him a Lear, L-E-H-R, Lear. That line that we worked on was called a Lear. He walked up to the Lear, and what I did was I packed glasses. I packed glass in a box, and that's what you did the whole day. And he walked up and he was joking and teasing with me, and I wasn't feeling him. This is a little lesson I learned, and I'm gonna pass it on to y'all. Didn't learn it overnight. But as he was teasing and joking with me and saying what he was saying, I got frustrated with him and I was irritated. And so I popped off and mouthed and said something smart. I remember exactly what I said. I said, why don't you leave me alone, go somewhere with your old blankety blank self and leave me alone. And I remember his response. He dead and gone now. But I must have really hurt that man's feelings in his heart. But he looked at me and he said these words. He said, just keep living. Just keep living. That's what he said to me. I just kept living. God done let me live. Now I know I should have never said that to him. First, it was insulted. I hurt his feelings. I wasn't right. I didn't have the key to life. I didn't have the fountain of youth. I wasn't going to be young forever. See, young people think they're going to be young forever. That's why I said what I did about Phylicia Rashad being commented on. Whoever smart mouthed to Phylicia Rashad telling her that she need to shut her old self up, and because she by herself and ain't got nobody, let the young people dress the way they want to and let them have their fun. I thought to myself, to that person who said that, type that statement out to Phylicia, keep living. And then you're going to see what Phylicia talking about. You ain't going to be young forever. So don't be so quick to pop off at your mouth and say something smart to somebody because you think you young and you feeling yourself. Because if God bless you to keep on living, baby, you're going to learn to eat them words. I eat them words, what I said to that man that day. It came back to my memory. Several times it came, and I'm not gonna say that is who it is, but I believe that that's how God operates sometimes. You know, he'll bring right back to you something that you done, you know, and make you very aware of where it's coming from. But I shouldn't have said that to him. So like now, I'm mindful of my mouth. I haven't always been mindful of my mouth, and I told you that. But I'm very much so mindful of it now. I came close the other day at CVS of stepping out of line because we're human and we do what we do, and we're subject to have happen what happens. But the pharmacist was waiting on me, and it appeared to me that he was being short with me and making our interaction difficult between each other. And so I kind of got short. I can't remember word for word or how it even started. It's just sometimes when you're dealing with a person, you can pick up their vibe, you can pick up their mood. And I picked up on him, and it wasn't going right. Then all the time I'm steady talking to myself, just let it go, Paulette, don't say nothing. But at one point during the conversation, when I was trying to say something to him and he was interrupting me and said, I hit the counter and I said, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. But I held it together. And I was thinking, this is how difficult it is to move in the world. You can be trying to be your best or do your best or be on your P's and Q's, and somebody will come along and pull you off of your square. I really do believe that it's the devil. He do that, and he only do that to those that are really searching for God or trying to be in a God walk. When you now become more aware that you can't keep rolling and operating the way that you once did, I can tell it from my family. When I was the old Paulette, cussing and hollering and going on acting a fool and getting mad and putting you in check over a heartbeat, the minute you say something to step wrong, I was there to cut it off and read you the riot act. But when I started backing up, I started looking at God and started looking at Jesus and how I should be, and I'm starting making changes within myself. Now I'm trying to listen to you as opposed to jumping you at every turn and every whatever. I'm allowing the conversation to flow. You say what you gotta say, Paulette. You shut up and you listen. And if you can't come to no agreement, then you separate yourself from that individual and go elsewhere so you can shut it down. You can shut your mouth down. Because an example would be if I got into it, well, he's no longer here, so I feel free to talk about him. But with my youngest child, he and I could get into an altercation. And I would be trying to converse with him, and it was like he was shutting me down at every turn, at every avenue, or he was saying something in a way that I'm perceiving. Because see, I'm old school. He would say stuff that I would be perceiving as you're talking back, you're being disrespectful, or you're being ugly, and I wasn't wanting to hear it. So I would fall into that old mold, which was the mold that I was pushed in when I was a child. You just did not talk back to your elders. You just simply didn't do it. I don't care what they were saying to you. You shut your mouth. And so, the encounter that me and my younger child would be having, he was adamant about to let me know that he's grown and he will say and do as he please. And I'm old school, and I'm telling him, I don't care if you are grown. You know, you hear on me, and I'm really telling personal stuff, but I'm supporting you in essence. I'm really that bridge that's holding you up, and you're not going to be in my presence relying on me as much and in the way that you're relying on me, and then you're responding and acting and treating me the way that you treat me. I'm going to stand up for myself. I'm going to put you in place. Well, to give you just a little bit of that, I started trying to change myself. I said, Paulette, now that you're walking with Jesus and you're getting more understanding and you're getting a little bit peace every now and then, and I would go back and apologize, you know, that right there was the first. You go back and apologize. You know, I might have been too strong in what I was saying, and I wasn't listening too well, and I was over talking you, trying to be a peaceful mediator. So I would apologize. But then whenever the occasion arose again and we would get into a verbal altercation, and then the faces be all torn up and everything, and I'm reading all of this, and then I'm getting madder and madder. I'm like, I'm about ready to spring on you and give you 5 knuckles as who used to say that, give you 5 across the lips. I was about ready to give him 5 across the lips. But then I learned, you know, walking with Jesus, shut it down, Paulette. Shut it down. Separate yourself. Move away from this confusion. And I thought about what my auntie said to me as a young girl. She said, it takes 2 fools to argue and a wise man to walk away. Then I thought about all my reading of Proverbs and Ecclesiasticus about a fool. When you interact with a fool, what you come up with, what experience you'll have. So I would utilize all of the tools that I had acquired over the years, and all of the learning and all of the newfound knowledge that I was getting and all of this, and I was trying to put it into effect. So when we would get into these verbal altercations, instead of me standing there and projecting my dominance, saying that I am the parent and I am the mother, and you will respect me and you won't talk to me that way and you won't use that tone of voice, and don't you dare use a curse word and blah blah blah. Instead of me doing that battle, I just started taking it from this point. God is watching all of this. See, this is something that y'all could take away and learn. God is watching all of it. He saw who said what, who said it first, who started it. He see it all. So I don't need to tell Jesus, now Jesus, you know, like I'm talking to my mama. No, see, mama, this is what they did. So Jesus seen it all. He saw you, what you was doing, and he saw the other person, what they doing. So what Paulette do 99% of the time now, what I try to do, instead of arguing with you and getting ugly and stuff, I choose to just say, God seen it, and I let him handle it. Bye. I ain't got time to straighten you out or try to straighten you out, or for you to straighten me out, or for you to try to put me in my place or me put you in your place. Go on away from me, because I got enough problems and troubles over here that I don't even want it. Go over there. You go figure me out. But over here, I ain't trying to figure you out, but I'm trying to figure me out and God, and I'm going to go over here and find peace. So what I would do, even though this was my house and I pay all the bills, I'm the one, as they used to say, pay the cost to be the boss. I'm the shack bully. I learned to cut my losses. Whenever I got into a situation where it was going to be a back and forth between me and him, I chose to just bow out, to step out, and put myself in a total another area from that individual. And that way I can be keeping myself in line with what God expects me to do. And then I can prevent me from saying something out of my mouth that I'm going to later regret or later have to come back and apologize for. Or I could prevent somebody from getting hurt. Because they have told us, hey, LaDonna, I've been wondering where you been. And Antonio, how you doing? Hi, Bill. But I had said to myself, I don't want to be caught up no more. I don't want to. Oh, that's what I was going to say. They would say that 99 times out of 100, when a person come up dead, it don't be they getting killed from strangers on the street. Usually it'll be a family member, somebody that you close to that bring you harm. And I know that there's been times that when me and the younger one would be getting into it, and I would be looking at him thinking to myself, you know, I'm short of committing murder over here. I want to, just a little bit, I feel like taking you out of here. I'm just going to tell you the truth. I'm just going to tell you the truth. It would be times that he and I would be butting heads so hard until I would say to myself in my spirit, I want to hurt you. And if I'm feeling that way and I'm the mother, I can't say that he wasn't feeling the same way about me. And this is when you get into one of those situations where nobody wants to back down. Nobody wants to give up and throw in the rag or throw in the towel. I started learning as I walk this walk in my life that I pick and choose my battles. I don't choose to battle with people. That's why I'm not going to get on this social media. And I tell people, it's my way of warning them. Don't come at me with no spiritual questions. If you want to keep believing that Jesus is this soft Jesus that you believe in, by all means, keep on believing it. But don't come over here because I'm saying differently from what you feel and what you think, and now you want to attack me. You want to try to flex your mental knowledge, because I know that you ain't got none. I'm just going to be telling the truth the way it is. Whenever I see people on here espousing this crap that they espousing about Jesus, and I know that that's not the Jesus that I read about, I know that that's not the Jesus that Jesus has shown me who he is, I be saying, bye-bye, y'all go on, keep on with it. Keep on with it. Keep on with it. And I just consider myself lucky and blessed. I hate that word. I believe that's the devil keeps sticking that in my mouth. Luck. Ain't no such thing as luck. But that's my blessing. God has blessed me by opening my eyes, and so I am able to see. So that's all I should be concerned with. And when Gino is doing a sermon and he says, save yourself, which those are words are in the scripture too. I ain't going to be worried about you and my neighbor and my kid. See, that's what was wrong with me almost 6-8 months ago. Constantly worried about your kids and worried about your grandkids. When I went over and over, and when I heard Gino, this is another thing. Whenever you listen to a sermon and you get a learning from it, God give you some information from it, you can go back to that same sermon. I saw a rabbit. You can go back to that same sermon and get another lesson. God is awesome. And it's going to slip my mind what I was going to say. Get it back, Paulette. Get it back. Get it back. Get it back. Get it back. But, yeah, that was my problem. I was worried about my kids and stuff. You know, I'm sitting up here trying to get close to God and reading his word and praying, and then I look at my little grandbaby and my heart get heavy, and I go to thinking, oh my God, she got to grow up in this world and maneuver all these places. This is why people need to stop and consider themselves blessed and thankful. Think about this, y'all. I'm 74. Don't you know how many times I done been in some spots and situations where I could have been out of here? not only medically, but situations that I put myself in that I could have been out of here. It's just too many places to go in my head. But that's where I was. I was constantly worrying about my children and constantly worrying about my grandchildren and saying, it's so much in the world out here waiting on them. And it's like you want to try to teach them and give them every single thing that you can give them so that they can have a successful life. Nobody will hurt them. Nobody will kill them. They won't kill nobody. They won't be caught in no trap. But you just simply can't do that. You can't grab up your children. You can't grab up your grandchildren and put them in a bubble and keep them perfectly safe. They're going to be maneuvering and moving in this world free of you. One day it's going to happen. So this is why, where I am now mentally thinking that it's so sad that our parents wasn't connected to God, so they couldn't give their children what they needed, and that was an understanding of who God was and how to walk that walk. And then we could have saved ourselves so much trouble. It's so many things I could have saved myself from if I had only known who God was when I was a child. I could have saved myself innumerable sexual encounters, because why? I wouldn't have done them in the first place. I'm even thinking now I wouldn't even have no children. I'm even thinking now I probably perhaps wouldn't even been married. Not feeling and knowing what I know now. When I think back, I'm like, well, that's a case I might have would have stood for. I might have would have said no children. Because now that I am in the situation where I am the mother of some children, I don't really see the benefits of it. I know you got a lot of people out there like to brag on their children and how good and how wonderful they are to them. But truth be told, that is not the norm. That ain't the norm. It's good. It's good as happening. Please hear Paulette say that. It's good as happening if your children is all good and hunky-dory and cookies and creams and sugar and butter. That's all good. But that ain't the case with everybody. And so I sometimes be thinking, if God had been given to me the right God, there's so many places that when I look back in my life that I could have prevented this and prevented that, because I would have knew better. I would have moved differently. I could have saved myself a lot of heartache and a lot of misery. But because we're broken, and that's why I termed the acronym DFG, disconnected from God. When you are disconnected from God, your life is a shambles. Your life is a shamble. When you disconnected from God, when you are separated from that vine, and right now, I sometimes feel like I'm on an island by myself, and I know that there are other people who follow Jesus Christ in my community, because I've heard of their names. I've heard their names mentioned. There's not a church here for us to assemble together, and where I got baptized in the name of Jesus Christ, I was what they call it when you be on the phone, zooming. I was zooming with that church, but I have an issue with that church. I was baptized in the name of Jesus Christ in First Church, and this might be business I want to keep with First Church, but this comes to hearing Jesus and knowing when Jesus is and when Jesus ain't. And Gino has come on the forefront, and he said this about 2 or 3 times, because there's been 2 or 3 incidences where there have been people who have infiltrated First Church, and there have been pastors who are doing stuff that's not of God, and they were with the organization, and Gino had to get them kicked out of there. I feel like there's one he needs to do here in Muskogee, and I'm going to keep my mouth shut about the name of the place and everything, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut about where it is. But I feel like I put it on the back burner. I said, let God handle it. But sometimes maybe I need to tell Gino what I experienced so that he can be aware that there was an issue. I'm not even sure if the issue is still there now, because that individual has health issues. They could possibly very well be deceased. I don't know. I hope they're not. I'm not wishing them any harm in that way. But based on how they were saying stuff and what they were saying, I'm like, I don't believe that's of God. And does Gino know you think this way? And if he knew that you thought this way, and I'm going to tell you, there, I think it's in Genesis. No, shut up, Paulette. I don't know where it is, because somebody died and they died with information you done said and it's wrong. But the wording is something like they had children with angels, and they were saying those were not angels. I clearly remember Gino teaching and saying that those were not angels, that they had children. The Nephilims came from angels mating with the women of the earth and had children. And I remember clearly that the word was, those were not angels, those were men. And the reason why they're not angels is because angels don't have sperm, angels don't have blood, so they couldn't conceive no child with no woman. But this pastor was saying different. He was saying they was angels. And so I didn't feel comfortable on the Zoom no more. It's dry. I don't know what's going on with me. And the reason I didn't feel comfortable was because I'm like, I don't want to be getting no 2 sides to the story. I want to stick with one side of the story. And this was brought on to the ship. In other words, there's sometimes ministers who will say that they profess to believe what is being taught by First Church, and so then they go through whatever they go through, and then Gino will go ahead and appoint them as minister to represent First Church, and then people that become newly baptized or who are looking for a church home, they'll be going to that church that he's allocated as one of the First churches. Well, since that was the case, I'm like, I don't want to be fellowshipping here, because with these two different thought processes on, there was angels that had children with women, but then the teacher is saying no, they were not angels that had children with the women. And I'm thinking, here we're using that word thinking, but I'm knowing that based on what was said, if they don't have sperm, they can't produce children. If they don't have blood, so in other words, angels, they're not like us. They're not like us humans. But whereas this one, they're saying that they were children had by the angels, where are you getting this information from? And why are you talking? I don't trust you no more. So I just quit going to the Zoom, period, at all. I don't have no affiliation with them at all. And I'm thinking that I should have said something to Gino so that Gino could do some investigation. Because I'm looking at it like this. All these people that's congregating here and coming here, they're coming here because of the word of God. And they thinking they're being led under the tutelage and the guidance of someone who is truly recognizing who God is. But if you got this minister and he's of a different thought process, I don't want to be hooked up with you. Cause what else you gonna say down the line that may not be in sync too? And then it was too much. To me, it was a little backbiting going on, saying stuff against whatever. So sometimes I think about it now, and that's been several years ago. I want to say, I don't know how long I've been baptized, 4 or 5 years, maybe longer. But yeah, this walk is hard. And the devil, I think he really gets busy when he sees you trying to make that walk with Jesus. I think the devil really starts to mess with you. He starts throwing things in your pathway. He starts putting you in positions of places where you got to choose and make the right decision. Cause like now, like I said, I'm coming to the place where I'm not gonna let kids worry me. You know, you can do or you cannot do. I'm not gonna worry myself with that, because number one, I'm up in age and I need to be concerned about myself and my health. I should be enjoying whatever days that God has given me that are good days, where I'm not down fighting some illness and I'm not feeling sick. So I want to take joy in that. I want to be on my knees in supplication to God, asking for more understanding and to get me in a position where I'm speaking in tongue. And this is God's way of letting you know that you are in the book of life. And you should also be aware that if you should achieve the ability to speak in tongue, if God gives you that ability to speak in tongue, saying yes, you in the book of life, you can lose that spot. That's why I tell y'all, when it comes to Gino, and Gino don't need nobody to defend him, because his life defends his whole walk is self-evident, his whole walk. And if you pay enough attention to what he's saying, you'll see too, that man is not trying to get no glory for himself. He's not putting the spotlight on him. It's just like in the biblical times. James, Peter, Paul, John, all of them, they didn't clamor for the attention. The attention was put on them because of what they were speaking and what they were saying. And that's the same thing it is with Gino. Gino is not out here trying to look for glory or praise on his own name or his own strength or who he is. He could care less if you like him, don't like him, whatever. But what the man is saying coming out of his mouth is coming straight from God. And if you want to kick and scream about that, then I think you need to kick and scream to God about it. Because God is the one who said it. And the way you know God said it is because if you in the Word of God and you read it, you can see for your own self. That ain't none of Gino's Bible. He didn't put them words there. And like I told you, when I was off into the books the way I was, honey, I kicked Tony Evans to the curb when I went on. I've said this before, and I don't know how many times people have heard me say it or care that I say it. But Tony Evans changed wording in that Bible, and I was through with him, baby. Because if you go to the book of Revelation, somewhere around them last chapters there, God tells you, God got safeguard of everything. You can't take not one single word out of that Bible or put in one single word. You better not do that. You better not do that. Because God done, he said it in the Bible. Don't you mess with his word. Don't you take nothing out. Don't you put nothing in. Tony Evans took out words, and he bold enough to tell you in the front of his Bible that he took out some words. So when I looked at that thick mustache clown, and I used to sop Tony Evans up like you sopping up gravy with biscuits. I used to listen to him all the time, because that's all these people are. They're powerful, motivational speakers. That's what they are. They're not really no men of God. They're not walking with God. And Tony Evans is boy, he's really a deceitful something, because he appears to be, he looks like, he sounds like, but he ain't. And when I looked in that Bible, and then they all got their Bible, Tony Evans' Bible. And when you open it up in the front of the Bible, he tells you plainly. See, I read where most people don't read. You know, if I go in a bookstore and I pick up a book, I'm going to read the copyright, the preference. I read all that fine print stuff. I don't just read the book. I read, in other words, I'm one of these cover-to-cover people. I read from the time you open up. I read everything on the front of the book, on the spine of the book, the back of the book, and then I open the book. And I read the first page all the way to the last page. So I read everything. So that's when I found out that Tony Evans changed some pronouns in the Bible. And I was done with Tony Evans. And him and his old daughter, the one that played in the prayer room, or Shire, whatever. All these people, demonic, they not of God. Well, anyway, I think I done overdone it today. I done been on here and I done been talking about everything. I see Antonio, well, y'all names are still up there. Antonio, LaDonna, and Vivian. And when I close out, that's when I get most of the views. And since I started putting stuff on Instagram, I've been getting a lot of people coming up on Instagram. A lot of people. So, you know, if I was smart enough to deal with TikTok and all these things and know how to do it by myself, I might would have more followers than I have. But I don't. And I'm not really sure how to do Instagram. And Facebook used to, whenever you load your story up, it would say it's loading to your story, and Instagram too. But it don't do that no more. So I try to load up some stuff to Instagram, and I don't be asking nobody to help me, because they don't really want to help me. But yeah, I think I talked a lot today, and I said some stuff that maybe won't come back to bite me in the behind. But yeah, this journey, this life journey, is something else. It's something else, baby. It's something for you on every turn. That's why you got to be grabbing hold of God. Oh, that's that dog. I'm so scared you're going to get killed, dog, because you keep running out there in that street. Y'all, you probably can't see him. Oh, I can't turn the phone over there. I feel sorry for him. I feed him from time to time when I think about it, or when I'm able to. I put some food out for it to eat, and it really kind of like hangs out next door. And I asked my neighbor, I said, "Do y'all ever feed that dog?" And he said, "Yeah." So between that house and mine, it's been eaten, and it kind of hangs out around over here. But yeah, I got stuff still yet going on in my life that's causing me havoc and stress. But God is helping me to map it out and walk it through, because I'm learning to understand that when you can't do something about something, leave it alone. That's the hardest thing in the world for us to do. And your mind will keep thinking about it, though. I got something that really be on my mind 24/7, but I just keep talking to God, and it's getting a little bit better. I can't do nothing about it. So if I can't do nothing about it, quit worrying about it. Give it to God and let him handle it. He knows what's going to happen. He knows the beginning all the way to the end. So you just leave it alone. And that's what I'm doing with my kids. I done learned to release them and let them go. You know, quit trying to maneuver and do this and do that. And plus, I'm not going to be the footstool no more. I'm not going to be had and used any kind of way and then be made to feel like I'm the problem. I'm the one with the issue. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm the bridge that brought you from where you couldn't do for yourself. I brought you to where you are, to where you were able to take care of yourself. Now you're not going to turn around and poop on me and then make me feel as though I'm the blame for all of this or that. I did something so horrific to you that I don't warrant forgiveness, or you can't let it go. Well, I'm not fixing to wear myself to the grave. Cause why? God looking, He see, He know from the beginning to the end. And just like in my case with my mother, but I think the saving grace for me was my ignorance. They're ignorant too, but a lot of it is just, I don't know. Shut it down, Paul. Shut it down. But no, I'm not what you want to try to convince me that I am. I'm not that. Because I'm a free woman, and you're where you are because of me. And there was a lot of sacrifices made, and a lot of doing what I showed up. That's what I want to say. There's a lot of people out here that have children, they didn't show up. I showed up. I fed, and I clothed, and I housed, and I kept a watchful eye best I could. So, between all of the things that I did that I know was right, I showed up. There's some people don't show up. And there's some people they better off not to show up, because they brutalize the individual. They harm them, they hurt them, they abuse them, they neglect them, they kill them. And I did none of those things. So it is what it is. Oh, girl, and when you get older, your skin gets so dry, it just be cracking you just like a lizard. Well, y'all about to had enough of me, and it was several times I almost went off on a tangent into a preaching zone, and I really don't want to do that. I hope y'all come back and watch me again if I go live. Antonio, I appreciate your presence and coming in. LaDonna, I appreciate you. Vivian, I appreciate you. And if you guys want to say something, you can. I just gave you the parameters. You can say stuff to me, but just don't expect me to do no Bible teaching. And don't try to do no convincing me of wherever you are spiritually. Let it be what it is. I didn't mess this all up. So y'all, I'm finna get off of here and continue to sit until it gets dark. Who knows? I might come back again, because I have seen some content creators, they come back 2 and 3 times a day. And maybe I won't be so yabby-dabby the next time. But I was yabbing it up today. Yabbing it up. And thought I would let y'all in on some secrets about my car doors. So if you ever see me getting in the way that I get in, you won't have nothing to say. And if you do have something to say, know how I feel about it. I don't care. I rigged a way for me to get in, and I'm happy with it. So I'm going to let y'all go. Be blessed. Pray and ask Jesus for understanding. And I'm fixing to sign off. I might come back.